I really like wrapping up this roundtable with the issue of accessibility, because it is indeed a very critical issue that we don't address sufficiently, and very often is not only an issue of means, but an issue of political will and making this group more visible. One other thing that we are learning from this pandemic is that there are many groups in our society that have been invisible up until now and are becoming very visible. And I do really hope that that this group is one of them. And that should help us also go into the discussion about how much of what we do now is temporary and how much should be permanent. And some of the very practical cases that have been put forward, like the one of Amsterdam with the laptops, they might sound simple, but they are not. In the housing session that we had, we were discussing how unthinkable it would be for all these people that we have been providing a home for now in the view of the pandemic, to suddenly say on the 23rd of April, that is the first moment where the state of emergency in Spain will be over. Now you are alone and in the streets again. Well, the first thing is that we are going to probably have the state of emergency prolonged, but beyond that, it's just a very difficult thing to say. And so many of the transformations that we are bringing about will need to become permanent. And there is a certain level of technology that we will be needing to apply there. So thank you very much, colleagues. I'm going to wrap up with some of the key concepts that I think should be guiding our policy recommendations, and also our political debates in the future, because a lot of this cannot be done without deep, in-depth political debates. I think one of the challenges that you have been pointing out is that this privacy versus security debate that is being put through is often not as real as it should be. So it's not necessarily true that we need to have this debate. What we need to do is indeed to protect data. And protecting data will also guarantee privacy. But when the data of citizens is guaranteed, is in private hands, security also improves because people feel safer. They trust government in a different manner, and this is the role that different spheres of government should play. So I think this is a very important debate that local governments will need to have in the future, and play a much stronger role in data. Access to affordable and accessible internet and digital services. The comparison was made between the underground and internet now. I mean, just as important. A basic service. We will need to see how that happens. If I look now at the discussions that are taking place in different parts of the world, aiming at cutting down on public service provision, well, I think that the conversation is going exactly the path that it shouldn't be going. So how do we achieve accessibility? Well, by strengthening service provision and making sure that access to internet is part and parcel of that. And that will also entail a serious conversation with the private sector that has not been in this discussion, but that we should certainly involve in the future. Accessible and accurate information and fighting the hate speech and the difference between freedom of expression and the use of the many channels that we have to express false news. It's very, very critical and will be a very important part of the government perspective of this, of the leadership role that cities will need to play. And so I think that the role of networks such as Eurocities, Metropolis, UCLG, ALAS, that is among us, and providing so many inputs to the Latin American cases in the platform that we have developed, will be to actually see how to best foster an in-depth discussion on this, not only comparing cases like we have done today, but putting together strategies. We have the principles that we have set up through the coalitions. We've got the real life practices that we have exchanged here. I think that we need to lead in the discussion for transformation and make a strategy together. So that is my hope for the follow-up of this meeting. And allow me to give the floor to our partner in UN Habitat. I think Maimuna is still here. Maimuna, closing remarks from your side. We've got a big job ahead.
Thank you very much, Amelia and colleagues. I think this is the first time that I follow until the end, because otherwise it's the last two is only halfway. I'm very, very happy to hear all those challenges and opportunities. I think I have a few points to as a conclusion. One, I think now is the best time for us to look at our work into the new normal way of doing things, new normal way of working, and looking into the investment in the technological infrastructure. I think involving the public, private, and people partnership, and we hear about the digitalization as enabler, and the smart living. And you can see that this, you mentioned about this, it has to be accessible, affordable, and also adequate. And as the smart living is also reduce the carbon emission. I think the lockdown experience that we have seen now, I think we also cause less pollution, cause less carbon emission. And this also, I think the first time that we can see the view of the Mount Kenya from Nairobi city, never been. And also the first time that we see the view of Mount Everest for 30 years from India. So this is, I think that is the lockdown is also looking into to unlock the new opportunities, because we have looking at another way of city planning to live more nature and reduce the development footprint. Because we can still, that's now I was hearing about virtual online opera. Now I'm having a Zumba online, still having the same what we have been doing today, but we are doing it in our own, and we don't have to travel, and then is a time. And also looking into how we can reduce the development footprint, and also getting linked into, I think now COVID-19, we also have to link into the climate emergency that we have been talking before this. So this is a very good link. And UN Habitat is doing our mapping now with the use of smart technologies for urban monitoring, increase support and informed coordination and decision making. And Bogota is one of it. Just now it's mentioned by our colleague in Bogota. And to me, this is a new way of looking at it. Digital technology to unlock Amsterdam, not to lock down Amsterdam, to unlock Amsterdam. And my conclusion is that today's discussion is opened up my mind. Lockdown actually is to unlock opportunities to looking into other ways and alternative ways of doing the same thing or even better. Thank you very much, Amelia. Over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Maimuna. I think you are always very good in these catchy sentences that you manage to find for all of us, lockdown to unlock opportunities is one that is a keeper. I would like to thank all the participants for this experience. Please remember that this will not be the last discussion that we're going to have on this topic, and I was very happy to see Pilar Conesa with us from Smart City Expo, a very important partner for UCLG and for many in the room. We certainly need to keep working at this. Please consider this as just one of the pillars of our collective knowledge development. Thank you, all of you. 139 participants now while we are ending the session. I think it's pretty good and shows the importance of this topic. And see you tomorrow, because we will be talking about migration. And those are one part of the population that are often invisible, that are often not connected, and one of those that we really, really need to take care of. So thank you very much for this inspiring dialogue, and see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.